Hello and welcome to Kids Connect. My name's Teresa, and this Sunday is Mother's Day. Well, though we usually don't get flowers in the garden this time of year, we get a chance to plant them. So I hope you get a chance to go out into the garden and help your parents plant gardens and flowers. So today our story is The Living Stones. It's about Stephen. Well, now, I didn't know there was a disciple called Stephen, and I actually had to look this up. I grabbed my Bible, and I looked up Acts. Well, it's backwards, but Acts chapter 6 and chapter 7. They're not that long of a chapter, not compared to your school book, shall we say. It's only a page and a half. It's worth reading, but it talks about Stephen and who he is and what he did. Well, I have a short story about Stephen and what he did and how he helped the church when it was new. After the resurrection of Jesus, Jesus was alive in a new way. Sometimes he appeared to the disciples when they were walking along the road or sitting by the beach. Jesus talked to them in many ways and shared God's love. After Jesus no longer appeared to the disciples, his followers continued to meet. They gathered in one another's homes to remember the teachings of Jesus, to pray, and to eat meals together. They were always ready to lend a hand to those who needed help, just like my helper right here today. She's lending me a hand because sometimes you just need a lending hand. Let's listen to more and as more and more people talk together about this amazing thing that God is doing. So it's like a little story of two people talking to each other. What an exciting time to be a follower of Jesus. You can say that again. Well, we've had so many new people join our community after seeing the way we share God's love. But how can we keep looking after one another as our community keeps growing? What if someone gets left out? Well, that's okay, said another. The church leaders have come up with a plan to help. They've asked some people to be their helpers and to make sure everyone is cared for. So, different people in the church are taking over different duties or tasks to help out. Yes, and one of these is Stephen. He shares God's love wherever he goes. When people are sick, Stephen cared for them and prayed for them to get better. When people were hungry, Stephen took them food. When people didn't have enough to wear, Stephen gave them some clothes. When people were poor, Stephen gave them some money. When people were lonely, Stephen visited them. Stephen helped people to share what they had with others. Stephen told everyone he met about Jesus. He helped build the church community by sparking God's love and showing God's love in action, just like Jesus. And then the two disciples, continue and say, I'm glad Stephen is part of our community. I am too. Let's go see what we can do to help. It takes many helpers to build a church community. And no one can do it alone. Every member has an important contribution to make. Learn more about your church and find out how and who is doing what. I know we've got someone who preaches on Sunday, like Diane. We've got Carl who helps with the boilers. We've got Hot Dog and our other leaders who help with Sunday school. And there's a few other people who do a lot of things in the church that you just may not know about, but they do it, and if they didn't, it wouldn't work the way it does. Even if we aren't meeting there, there's still things that are getting done to make sure our church is still a community. Think of some things that you've seen people do while you're at church. How they've helped out. Maybe someone at the coffee bar making those delicious little mini donuts you like to eat, or the grapes. Make a list, and we're going to give you some little hands here that you can print out and cut out and write little things on what you've seen people in your church help out with and how you've helped out, and other things that you can thank. You can also put thank you for sharing God's love on the hands as well, and put them next to the little hearts that you've put on your window from last week. So, well, thank you for helping with this Sunday school lesson we've got. Oh, I also want to finish with a song that kind of fits in, called Pass It On. And think of ways that you can pass on God's love in similar ways that Stephen did. We can't always do things the same way we've done before. We've got to wash our hands, but we've always done that. Wash them a little bit more often, shall we say. And still kind of got to stay 6 feet away from people. That's still going to be a thing we have to do for a while. But there are other ways we can help. Bring laughter, bring smiles to each other in a time of, when things aren't quite always as happy, shall we say. Let me sing a verse here from Pass It On. It only takes a spark to get a fire going, and soon all those around can warm up in its glowing. That's how it is with God's love. Once you've experienced it, you spread His love to everyone you want to pass it on. What wondrous time is spring, when all the trees are budding. The birds begin to sing, the flowers start their blooming. That's how it is with God's love. Once you've experienced it, you want to sing. It's fresh like spring. You want to pass it on. I wish for you, my friend, this happiness that I found. You can depend on Him. It matters not where you're bound. I'll shout it from a mountain top. I want the world to know the Lord of love has come to me. I want to pass it on. Well, until next week, happy Mother's Day. Write your mom a card. Help her out in the garden. Maybe do a few dishes. And we'll see you next week.